Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already seen our previous videos, we are working on this 2006 Honda Accord, which we found subframe damage in. So today we're gonna attempt to start working on that. I went to Harbor Freight, bought some tools like an engine support, and I apologize for this weird angle here. I just have you guys inside of my Sequoia because it's so windy out here, and I'm sure the sound would be kind of funky outside, and I hope it's still not too funky right there. But so today we are going to try to work on that. I have my helper Isaac coming, and he should be here shortly. I have no clue what I'm doing or what I'm getting myself into, but we're going to figure this out together. I haven't seen any videos on YouTube on how to do 7th gen Accord subframe, so hopefully I could teach you guys, and hopefully we, cross our fingers, could get this done and it not be a total nightmare. So I'll just take you guys through what we're doing, and as we're doing it as best as I can. I'm pretty sure right now we're just gonna try to disassemble, jack it up and everything. So once we kind of get settled and start figuring some stuff out, I'll keep you guys posted. All right guys, quick update. Isaac is here. He's got the air filter battery out. I took off the other fender. We're trying to figure out how to set up this engine support, and we think we found a spot here. Right there. But we're trying to figure out if there's another spot on the other side. But first we got to figure out how to work this thing properly. So we got this thing on some jacks. We got this kind of set up, kind of how we want it. We're not really sure. Well, I don't really feel comfortable with this sitting on this motor mount, but we'll see. This one I feel more comfortable with. Obviously we had to take out all that stuff, so just tear your Honda apart and make it look like this, and then you got to go to O'Reilly's, since online it says that these were 36s, but really they're 32s. Also ChatGPT said they were 36 and 34, but no, they're not. So that's a quick tip. Those are 32s, not 36, not 34. And now we're gonna start taking apart all the suspension so we could get a better look at what we're dealing with. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Day 2. Obviously we didn't get too much work done. We had problems with the hub nut. So that one, they were torqued down to like 3 million pounds. So me and Isaac had trouble, but we got it. So we're still in the same spot. I'm about to go pick him up right now, and we're gonna start disassembling all this suspension components, and then hopefully from there we could start taking some of these engine mounts off and some of the subframe bolts or whatever we got to do. Like I said, I'll keep you guys posted. I think the most important part of this video is just to show how to do it. All this other stuff, obviously, like taking the airbox out and the battery and everything, is completely different. Like that's kind of like basic work in my opinion. I think everybody could figure that out. They're not very hard, a couple bolts and stuff. Same with the fender, I already showed you guys that. Bumper, everything that has been done so far is very basic. If you don't know how to do that, then maybe you shouldn't be doing a subframe. And even me, maybe I shouldn't be doing a subframe. We're gonna find out today though. So I'm gonna go pick up Isaac and then we'll be back. All right, here's our ghetto rig. So first off, I jacked up this engine on this 2x4, and I put it in the positions where we think it's nice. That one that I showed you down there, and then right here on this engine mount, which is not the most ideal place, but I think that's the best that we can do. So that's what we're working with, just in case you're wondering. And then as for all of this, we disconnected the lower control arm because that's the only part that's really attached to the subframe. So it should be able to drop. Everything else is kind of hung up. Like I got the CV axle hung up here and everything. So yeah, other than that, I think we have to unbolt the exhaust down here. And also, if you're wondering, the sway bar I don't think needs to, or the end link doesn't need to be disconnected because it's all attached to the subframe. All right, so we're trying to take off the exhaust. There's 2 bolts. I get this impact out of here. 2 bolts right there by the OT sensor. One on both sides, I can't get it. And then I think we're gonna drop it right here and take those off and just take that off because clearly it's blocked by the subframe here. So the subframe won't come down unless this is out of the way. Next we got this here. I already took out 2 bolts. We're gonna see what's behind here. We think it's probably like the shift linkage, but it goes all the way back there into the cabin. But clearly this is also in front of the subframe, so it needs to come out. So taking this out to see what we got. All right, so in order to get this shift linkage out, you got to take off this little plate. There's a couple of bolts around it. I think one on the bottom, 2 up there, and then 1 right here. This will come off, revealing it. And then you got another bolt that's connecting it. It's disconnected right now, but you can see where it goes right there. You need to get that out. It's a 10 mil and it sits on a plate. Let me show you. It sits on this little plate and that comes out. And now this should be free. Yep. And that is how you get that out of the way. So you could remove your subframe. Here's another bolt. Just right here for this heat shield. Here's the exhaust, just to get a reference. That needs to come off. Alright. There's a power steering line right there, disconnected. Right here, that needs to come off. This is on the passenger side. 2 other bolts that need to come off for this one. I don't know if you can see, in the one that's on the other side there. Those are gonna have to come off, and we have to find a way to kind of hang this up if possible. We'll see. All right, before I forget, there's another power steering bolt right there. That needs to come off. This is like right on top of the engine. So you gotta access it down there. Take out that one right there. That's holding that whole line in right there to the subframe. All right. I don't know if I could get this on. So we got 2 more over here. Jesus Christ. Those 2. Look at this. Sits like this. There's this bracket. There's 2 bolts. One's a 17 and the other's like a, I don't remember, it's smaller though. The smaller one's there. The 17's up there. Those got to come out to free this up. And then the last one that we're trying to work on, show it from the top, is right in here where that socket is. So that one has to come out too. Or once we get that out, I think that's almost every single bolt that needs to come out before the subframe drops. I don't know if this will make any sense, but we got that bolt out. Now this is the front of the vehicle and that's the rear of the vehicle. So passenger, driver. There's a bolt here that is holding these hoses. Take this one off. And then there's a bolt here that has this bracket that is holding the hose on the bottom and holding this little hose. This is the subframe that I got. So I don't know, they just disconnected it with the hoses still attached, but I don't think you need to do that. I think they could come free from the subframe with those 2 bolts. Yeah, so once you get those off, that should be free. Okay, here's the broken one from the passenger side. These got to come out. They got bolts that come in from the bottom. Right here, I just put it on top just to hold it. But yeah, they actually come in from the bottom, so you gotta take these out. They're 17s. And I'll put that other bolt here, and we move on to the next. All right, under the car, here's the oil pan. And right here, you got this weird little bushing, whatever this is. I think this bolt, that bolt, this bolt, and those 2 bolts need to come out. And I believe those are holding the subframe to an engine mount or something. And then obviously those 2 were exhaust hangers that are already out that we showed earlier. And then I already went ahead, let me zoom out. I got this one out, which was kind of weird, but I just did it from over here the best I can. We were worried about that one. They need to come out from the top. These ones are pretty easy, and then the front 2 are very easy. So, and those ones are the only ones that should be holding this engine. So we're gonna get those out and then see what we got. All right, so turns out that our mounting points are pretty solid because we got this thing up and off the subframe now on both ends. So now we're gonna take off. It's kind of hard to show when I'm under there, but there's this corner, that corner. It's just the back corners that holds the subframe to the car, I guess. So, and there's like, I believe some brackets that come off of it. So we're gonna take those off and we're gonna lift it with this long 2x4. Or we're gonna support the subframe by the 2x4. Once we unbolt all the bolts, we'll slowly drop it, very slowly, just to make sure we got everything off. And if it comes down, then it comes down. So we will see.
It must be on something, huh?
No, I think it's free. Hold on.
Oh.
Lower it.
Oh.
Lower it. I think it's free, Isaac.
Shoot. No way. That's crazy.
How many hours?
I don't know, I'd say like 7 or 8 easy. Shoot, no way.
No way. What an accomplishment. There she is. Not as bad as I thought. Just that we didn't know how to do it in all the parts. But there's
no tutorials, no nothing.
No tutorials. No one has done it on YouTube. We're the first on this piece of crap. We're gonna transfer all the bolts from this one to there. Sway bar, control arm, as long as the control arm's good. We're kind of in a time crunch here, so we'll try to move as fast as possible. At this point, if you watched every single bolt that I told you to take off, you just gotta re-put it back in. It's quite that simple, right? All right, I don't know if you guys can see this very well. I'll try to show it, but right there, you can see how it's sitting straight. perfect. And then on, this is the good one, obviously. I just transferred over the sway bar. And then over here, look how bent that is. So that's where our damage was right here. Just a little comparison. And then everything else is the exact same except for right there. You kind of see that bend here is a little funky too. Right there in that bend versus this one. Oh, it looks a little different, but you can definitely tell right here, no kink. Right there, big kink. Stuff like this only happens when you're about to do something awesome and rewarding. Unfortunately, the hood is still off, so there's almost nothing that I could do about that. We need a couple more engine mounts, bolts, and we would have been perfectly fine. We would have had the hood back on and shut, took off everything, but of course this happens right at the worst time. There's my old subframe sitting out there. I had to go save the Subaru because we were getting a little bit of hail. And since I can't use my garage right now, but there she is. She's hiding under a tree. She's fine. It wasn't that big though. It was little hails. Alright, we got pretty much everything put together, ladies and gentlemen. It's been quite the journey. We got a couple of cars coming to the channel, so I haven't been able to record this, but like I said, the whole process is just putting it back together. It's kind of funky in some ways, like you had to finesse some parts into place and just make sure everything slides back into where it goes. We got a couple of cross-threaded nuts, like an exhaust bolt here. I need to get a new one. There's a couple of other ones, but I'm on a time crunch, so I'm trying to get this done and move this out of my driveway so I could get the Subaru in the garage. So I'm sorry if you don't get to see me put it back together, but it's not that important. Honestly, I showed you everything that you had to do to take the subframe out. So yeah, that should be good enough for everybody that's trying to do the job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of days fast forward, this thing appeared from nowhere. I don't know where it came from, but it just ended up in my driveway. Stay tuned for a video about this truck here. But anyways, back to the Accord. So we have it all set up. Let me show you. I don't know if I could show this properly, but when it sits in a certain place, it almost looks like it used to. It like goes in like this at an angle. You could kind of see it, but I'm gonna try to adjust that alignment a little bit here and see if that'll make a difference. And it was also kind of concerning to me. I'm trying to line this up as best as possible. The steering wheel is straight. I thought this was a little concerning. Kind of looks like the tire like almost wants to pop out of the rim. Yeah, but and then I went to the other side. This is the non-damaged side, and it kind of looks like that here too. I don't know if it has like a little bit of camber, and I'm trying to look up online on how to adjust these in their camber, and apparently these aren't, supposedly you can't really adjust it that much. I think you could, but not that much, and I can't really find a straight answer on like what bolt to unloosen or any of that. But I'm gonna get under here, I'm gonna jack it up, mess with this tie rod just a little bit, and try to straighten this a little bit and see what we get, and then we'll move on, see how it looks from there. And there was also one more thing about the whole subframe removal that I didn't show you guys. Isaac had said it before, so Isaac is a smart one, but here there's a bolt. I think it's spun, oh, right there, that bolt. Before you pull out the subframe, you should remove that bolt and save yourself the time. Because when me and Isaac put it back in, we came in here to realize that this was all disconnected because it something fell out here. So you might as well disconnect that before you start doing it. That was a mistake, like a rushing mistake. Like I said, Isaac called it, so it's not his fault at all. I'll take full responsibility for that, but it's still not a big problem because he ended up putting it back in and it's fine now. I've driven it up and down the street, and yeah, so steering wheel straight. And yeah, let me adjust that so I could finish up this video and show you guys how it looks with the new subframe. And maybe not the perfect alignment, but better than what it's sitting right now. So I'll be back as soon as I'm done. All right, now it's adjusted. It's a little more straight to the body, but it's still sitting kind of funny. I personally think that it's sitting a little better. It's not like looking like it's gonna pop off the bead, but still, that is not how it's supposed to sit. And let me show you the other side. That's the other side. It's just a little too much, but one thing I was under there, I was thinking maybe my ball joint was bad or something, but I completely forgot that I didn't attach this back in because the bolt got stripped. So that thing is not connected. So that might have a huge impact on why it's sitting like that. And if you guys remember from when I first tore down this car, that part was completely snapped off of the other subframe. So it was never connected. So maybe that's the reason why it's sitting like this. That's the only thing that's the same as the other subframe. They were both disconnected there, and maybe it gives it this angle because it's not fully attached and picking it up. That's just my theory for now, but who really knows? That's an easy fix, but honestly, I'm probably just gonna leave the subframe video at that because that's what you guys were here for, I'm assuming, is how to change out a subframe on the 7th gen Honda Accord. And that should do it for the Honda Accord subframe replacement video. There's still more to do in this Accord. Unfortunately, I wish I could get rid of it already. There's a couple of other things, so I think there's gonna be a part 4 to the Accord before we end up selling it, or maybe another part 5. Maybe a part 4 fixing it, and then a part 5 of the breakdown and the selling of everything. But someone's whistling for some reason. Huge shout out to Isaac for all the help that he's given me, especially on this project. He has so much information in his head for being such a young boy, so make sure you guys go check out his channel, of course. He makes good videos, automotive content as well, so definitely please go check him out. His link's going to be in the description. Planning on showcasing a couple of other cars that have come into my driveway recently, just for the heck of it. Some of them need fixing and some of them don't, but I think I want to just showcase them because I kind of like the memory, just in case they get sold down the road or whatever. And they're just, I don't know, they're kind of unique in their own ways. So expect a couple of showcase videos. I got another vehicle that we're going to be fixing up that needs work. Just a little bit of things, but if you guys like that kind of content, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys leave me some comments. This was our first time doing a subframe, me and Isaac, so everything wasn't perfect. It didn't go smooth or nothing. It was a lot of days and sweat and tears, but at least we got through it, and at least me and Isaac both could say that we have done a subframe replacement, which is not the easiest task, quite honestly. And I hope that this video explained it well enough. It was kind of hard recording everything. I was trying to show you guys every single bolt that comes out, and then obviously I didn't show you us putting it back together, but I think that's pretty straightforward. You pull it out, you should know where it goes, or just make sure you keep track of all the bolts and stuff. I know you can use like a cardboard, but for the most part we would just screw it back in, thread it back into where it was, if that makes sense, and then transfer over. I don't know, you guys can figure it out. It's not rocket science. If I did it, you could do it. But yeah, stay tuned for the next video. We still got some stuff to do to this Accord before we sell it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.